at 10. On BBC One, it's now time to join our colleagues for the news where you are. Good night.
Good evening, I'm Assad Ahmed. BBC London has exclusively learned that some Tory MPs and a former chair of the Conservative Party are planning to boycott an Eid event at Downing Street tomorrow afternoon. It's in protest at the government's continued support of Israel's military action in Gaza. Well, earlier I went to Number 10 to find out more.
I want to send my very best wishes to Muslims at home and around the world celebrating Eid.
Aware of the importance of successful Muslims in business and politics, Prime Ministers have courted key figures at the annual Eid reception at Downing Street for years.
Eid Mubarak to Muslims across the UK.
But as Downing Street prepares for tomorrow's Eid reception, they're wondering who will be turning up in light of the Israel-Gaza conflict. We've learned there are leading figures from Muslim charities and businesses who say they won't be attending the event. But more surprisingly, maybe, is the small number of Tory MPs and peers who say they won't be attending either. BBC London has learned that one of those peers is the former chair of the Conservative Party itself, Baroness Sayeeda Warsi, who has resigned from cabinet during a previous conflict in Gaza. Well, she says she's refused the invitation because of the government's stance on the conflict in the Middle East. A London businessman who raises millions for charities both here and abroad, irrespective of faith, and who's been invited to the Downing Street reception before, says this year is different.
I think it's very, very important for the Muslim community to have good relationships with the British government. However, I feel very, very strongly this year with the position the British government taking. And last week, the killing of 3 British aid workers, after which Lord Cameron has said they will continue to supply arms to Israel, was an absolute red line.
Unlike this Eid Ramadan reception by the US President last year, this year's event was cancelled earlier this month due to a boycott by American Muslims over Israel. Israel says its military actions are justified because of the Hamas attacks on October 7th, which Israeli officials say killed about 1,200 people. Downing Street told us that the Prime Minister looks forward to welcoming members of the Muslim community to the Eid reception, saying, "We share the deep concern that many British Muslims have." Nevertheless, there'll be many eyes waiting to see who from the Muslim community will be celebrating Eid with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. A charity run involving the relative of a girl who died in the Grenfell Tower fire and campaigners from the 1989 Hillsborough disaster is underway. Well, Aisha Baksh can tell us more.
Manny Ruiz lost his niece Jessica Urbano in the Grenfell Tower fire. She was just 12 years old.
Well, she was just the most bubbliest little girl. And every time she walked in the room, she made everybody smile.
And this weekend, Manny took part in a unique challenge, a 227-mile run from Liverpool via Sheffield to West London. It's been organised by Mick Parkin, a lifelong Liverpool fan who'll be running an average of 30 miles a day. He's campaigning for a so-called Hillsborough law aimed at supporting victims in public inquiries and forcing officials to fully cooperate.
Until you talk to a survivor of anything like Hillsborough, Grenfell, and understand the impact it's made upon their lives and entire communities, it was just jaw-dropping.
All the money raised will be given to the mental health charity Mind and the Grenfell Foundation, which supports bereaved and survivors. Aisha Baksh, BBC London.
Now the weather forecast with Gulser.
Hello, good evening. Well, it continues to be dry with more in the way of clearer skies developing overnight tonight. There will be a bit more in the way of cloud arriving in from the west to end the night, though, with a couple of showers spreading through and temperatures dipping to around 7 or 8 Celsius. It means for tomorrow morning, well, we will start to see more in the way of cloud continuing to spread in from the west. With it, a band of showery rain, some heavy at times during the morning. Once that clears through, we're left with sunny spells, scattered blustery showers and temperatures reaching around 10 to 12 Celsius.
That's it for us tonight. I wish you a very good night. Bye-bye.
The only one of me in all.